You see, guys, if you ever trust your nose, you smell, walk in your kid's room or somewhere in your house, you smell a little mildewish smell. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Don't use bleach. From what I heard from a professional guy, he said bleach tends to make it root deeper into the wall. I come into my children's room recently and I start smelling a little mildewish. So you want to get a little hydrogen peroxide. If you have some tincture like wormwood and clove oil, drop it in there because this is a living spore. You pour it on there, hydrogen peroxide suffocates it, and then get a mold treatment at Home Depot. You can put it on. I like to use hydrogen peroxide because it's really strong and it suffocates it real nicely. Get a little scrubber. It stinks. And my child, I noticed she's been coughing for the last couple of months, off and on, and just her immune system. She just keep getting sick and sick. And in this crawl space, they had flooded before. They want to have the best insulation because, you know, when these Chinese, Korean people buy houses and you rent from them, they never do a good job restoring a house because they're cheap. And not all of them, but most of them, they don't understand things like mold in Pacific Northwest here. And I'm renting from this Japanese lady, Naomi Nakaoi or whatever her name is. But this is what you deal with. The house, when I moved in here, the floors were warped. And so I was about dehumidifiers right away to make sure, because the rent was so cheap, you could not say no. You know, it was $1,700, and I was paying that much for a 3-bedroom apartment. And here is a house for 3 bedrooms. But look how easy this comes off. So you want to make sure it's wet so it doesn't start flying everywhere. And this is very good, guys, to do this for your children, for your health. And now I have to make sure that corner, see, this is how it happens. When you have things too close in the corner, usually like that, to a wall, you want to have about 2 inches of breathing space. And my wife does this nonstop. When we lived in Astoria, same thing happened. She put our mattress against the wall, and it was a 1-pane window. And 1-pane window started leaking into the mattress, starts suffocating. That's how this mold happens. I might want to open this up and see if there smells moldy in there. See if it's leaching, but somehow moisture got trapped here, right here, see? So I'm so happy I found this. And my wife, she every time I tell her to smell mold, she's like, Vlad, because I have a lot of anxiety about mold. And she doesn't want to keep me be stressed, but she doesn't realize she could have prevented this. I could have listened to her, and we could have had a serious problem, but I chose to dig. And this just does, it smells like that mildew smell you smell in a lot of houses. And you don't want to smell that. But this is her bed, and she had a thing hanging over it. When I pulled it out, initially, I was like, that stinks. And, you know, this is her little hidden stashes of clothes that doesn't fit them.